Hi, I'm Shauna. This is Shauna's World. Welcome back to my channel where I make videos about living intentionally. If that sounds like something you might be interested in, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Shauna's World. So today's video, I don't really want to be making today's video, but I thought I should come on here and share. I'm also feeling really under the weather, which is all part of what I'm going to share, but I thought I'd catch you up on how things have been because the last, for quite a while I've been sharing the videos leading up to my ultramarathon and that kind of whole journey of nearly 9 months of deciding what ultras I was going to do this year, building up my training from being super unfit and super after my surgery last year and barely being able to walk, and getting back to fitness and aiming to do the 50-kilometer total coastal race on the Southwest Coast Path on my birthday. Well, my birthday was, as I'm filming this, it will have been a month ago tomorrow, and I'm really sad to say I had to pull out of that ultramarathon, and it was a really, really tough decision, but ultimately the only one that was available to me because I was just really unwell. I've shared quite a lot of the training journey and a few of my long runs, and I shared a week of my training before, and I'd been working really, really hard to get up to fitness to be able to run this 50k, but the odds were against me for quite a lot of that time. I've been dealing with quite a lot of health stuff throughout that process, so my immune system has been so bad, and I think it's probably fair to say now that I am immunocompromised. I have had so many coughs and colds and often have them really badly. And through all that, I was just kind of having to take breaks in my training, and that wasn't ideal. But even when I got back to health and fitness, I noticed how bad my breathing was. I mean, I shared a video a while ago from a mountain day I did in Scotland, and I had the best day, but on those mountains, I sounded like someone who had never run before in their life. My chest and my lungs was so wheezy and gaspy and not like someone who runs 4 times a week. So throughout the process, I've been aiming to run about 4 times a week, strength and conditioning once or twice a week. I'd been really kind of pretty committed as far as I could be with the health stuff. I was having to take some breaks. And then I think the last really long run I did, which was meant to be my last long run before the ultra on my birthday, was a 4-hour run on the Southwest Coast Path on some of the route of the race. The next day after that, I came down with a cold. It was the first cold I'd had in about a month. So approximately I've been getting them on a monthly basis, so pretty regularly, and some of them are lasting 2-3 weeks. So it's a lot of time with a cold. This one wasn't as bad in terms of it didn't really spread to my chest, but in a kind of, I didn't have a serious cough kind of way, but I just didn't feel right. I was streaming with kind of snottiness and horribleness. And then after the cold went, I was just really low energy, not feeling great. And then a couple of weeks later, which I guess was a week or 2 weeks before the race, kind of when I was in my taper, I just tried to do an easy run with my partner while we were on a camp out on Dartmoor. And after about 20 minutes, I just couldn't carry on. There was so much pressure on my lungs and what felt like my heart. It was just this real constriction in my chest. And I just could not carry on. And that was the first time in my training. I'd really struggled and I'd had to walk and stuff, but usually I could walk and then carry on. And at this point I couldn't. It just was such a constriction in my chest. And then I could just kind of burst into tears because I was like, oh, it's nearly time for the race. And I just don't feel able to do it. And I talked to my coach, and they were kind of like, well, you have to look after yourself. And I really didn't want to pull out at that point, and I was kind of toying with it and realizing it might be what had to happen, but I was just really hopeful. It had been a one-off. I was incredibly stressed and upset when I'd been on that run, and I was like, maybe that's why I was so constricted. Maybe it wasn't a sickness, it was just a constriction from anxiety and stress. And at that point I knew there was a good chance I might have to pull out, but I was really hopeful. And then a couple of days later, I was like, I'm just going to go for a 30-minute easy, see how it goes. I was a bit less stressed by that point, thought I might feel better. And it was 20 minutes in again. I was so constricted, I had to stop. And at that point, I knew I wasn't going to be able to do the race. So I was devastated because I'd put so much energy into it. And also that thing of when you've told lots of people you're doing it, I think I can be a little bit of a show off about being an ultra runner, not in a massive way, but kind of I enjoy telling people at work it's my hobby. And I'm probably completely insufferable. I don't show off, but yeah, I do like get joy from telling people I'm running 50k, and I did. And then I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to tell everyone I'm not doing it. And it has that like fragile little ego smashing to pieces, and it feels quite vulnerable. But yeah, that was the decision I had to make. And then obviously, because it was my birthday that I was supposed to be doing the race, I'd planned it for my birthday. I like doing something special on my birthday, usually running related. So last year I was injured and just made some Strava art, writing 36 as I turned 36 in the in Strava art, and it was my first Strava art, and that was so much fun. The year before I ran 35k for turning 35. And then this year I was going to do the race on my birthday. So obviously I was gutted about that. But I did manage to rally together some friends to go for a hike on Dartmoor instead. So that was really nice. And I had a lovely, lovely day. And the day after, I was having my kind of actual birthday gathering of friends, and I'd booked out a sauna that was on the beach in Mothercombe in Devon. It's called Somewhere Sauna, and they have, you can book a private sauna, and then they have a cold plunge, a fire pit. It was really nice, but I'd kind of booked that as a like, oh, this will be my recovery after the race, and I just felt so like, I haven't done the race and I'm recovering from something I don't need to recover from. It was a gorgeous birthday and a gorgeous day, weekend in general, but I was gutted. So I've tried to just remind myself, this race, it was a big deal to me, it was important to me, but it wasn't my most important race of the year. I've got the Lakeland 50 coming up in July, and I was kind of like, okay, that's where I want to prioritize my energy. It'll be my first 50 miler, and if I can just get round. But obviously the health stuff that's been coming up hasn't just gone away. And after I made the decision to pull out of the race, I kind of went out on my next run thinking, okay, great, I can focus on the Lakeland 50. But obviously my health problems hadn't all just disappeared because I decided not to do this race. And I felt terrible. And I was kind of like, am I going to be able to do the Lakeland 50? And to be honest, I still don't know how that's going to go. My health took a turn upwards after that. It was a couple of probably a week or so after that of feeling really bad. And then things started to get better. I was feeling really run down, and when I looked at my stats on my Chorus app, I could, my heart rate was really high, my stress was really high. And then at the start of this week, we're kind of in mid-May now, the start of this week, I just suddenly started feeling amazing in myself. And I'm having a really tough time in my personal life and my work life. And I'd been in tears a lot of the time and really struggling. And then suddenly, like, none of the external stuff had changed, but internally I suddenly felt okay. My health started to feel a lot better. I felt better in myself, in my body. My stats on Chorus changed drastically. Like, my stress levels dropped completely. My resting heart rate came down. I had no idea what was going on. That lasted maybe 2-3 days. And then I got hit with a cold at the end of the week. And it hasn't been a really bad one, but it's also, just frustrating because I've missed a couple of my runs this week. I'm going to try and get out today. But the Lakeland 50 is my focus now. And I've come to accept that the Lakeland 50 might be a hike with a bit of running rather than a run with a bit of hiking. I think in ultra running, it's really normal to walk, particularly on the hills, but I was anticipating it being more of a run with a bit of hiking on the hills. I think with how my health has been and how my training has been, it's more likely to be a predominantly hike with some jogging on the easy bits. And actually that's been quite hard to swallow, and maybe that's how it would have been anyway, but just having that intention. But the cutoffs are really long on the Lakeland 50. It's 24 hours for the 50 miles, and lots of people do walk. So that does feel good that regardless of where my health is, hopefully I'll be able to get round. And the total coastal I was going to do on my birthday, I wouldn't have been able to make the cut-offs walking. So I think it was the right thing to pull out. I am actually still planning on doing the route of the Total Coastal, and I'm going to do that in probably mid-June, and just do it on my own or maybe with a friend. And I'm going to treat that in the same way I'll treat the Lakeland 50, probably as kind of more of a hike with a bit of running. And yeah, it's been hard having to adapt to where I am, and also the fact that I'm sharing it online. I do feel like some embarrassment around, you know, wanting to be improving and inspiring and, you know, fun for people to watch. And obviously that's not what it's about. I'm on this journey for myself, and I just like sharing it along the way. But I'm human, and a human with a fragile little ego, and I do think about those things. And yeah, I really hope things improve. I've got another doctor's appointment this week, and hoping to get to the bottom of some of the health stuff that's going on. But yeah, it's been a tough time. It's been a tough time pulling out of the race. And, you know, above all, I'm just really grateful that I run, and I can still run to an extent, and I will continue to run. And hiking brings me a lot of joy too. So even if it's more of a hike, I'm really grateful I can do that. And I have been at points in my life where I haven't been able to do that, either because of mental health or physical health, or just being too chaotic to take care of myself in that way. So I am really grateful to be where I am, even if it's not exactly where my ideal would be. But at the same time, accepting it has been a hard time, and I have felt very frustrated at where my health is and where my running is. But we can only meet ourselves where we are, and that's what I'm really trying to do. I'm trying to keep the mental side of things as positive as possible. I'm feeling very snuffly today, but not chesty. I'm going to try and get out for an hour and a half or so run later, taking my new wonderful running poles with me, which I'm going to do a review on soon. But yeah, it doesn't feel great to share that, because I've loved sharing my training vlogs along the way, and then to come on here and be like, well, actually I didn't do it. It doesn't feel good. But as I said, I have to meet myself where I am, and that's where I am, and I wanted to share it. And hopefully things will pick up from here. And hopefully, even if my runs are more hikes with a bit of running, you won't mind watching it too much. So I'm going to leave that there. And yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you for coming along on this journey, even when it's a bit of a bumpy journey. And I really appreciate having people watching and supporting along the way. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. To follow the rest of the journey to the Lakeland 50, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.